everyone, welcome to Cyberscoop TV. Greg Otto, your editor-in-chief here. We're coming to you from the floor of the 2019 Black Hat Conference, and I'm talking with Joseph Carson, Chief Security Scientist and Advisory CISO for Thycotic. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Great to be back at Black Hat.
So, Thycotic just released an election toolkit. Can you talk to me about what that entails?
Absolutely. One of the reasons we've done a lot of research, and I have a strong background in voting systems, so I'm based in Estonia, and I have a lot of experience in helping the Estonian government with basically voting systems and election protection. And one of the things that came after, of course, the last presidential election, there was a lot of issues basically around compromising the election campaign itself. And during the last elections and the upcoming elections as well, so Thycotic put together an election toolkit to really help local governments get the needed information assistance to help lock down and protect their information. A lot of the voting systems protection that most of the federal give today is from the machines and after that fact, but they don't really help the actual campaigns themselves. They don't help protect the citizens' data, what type of information they have, their personal and sensitive information. So we put together an election campaign toolkit, so local governments, municipalities, and states can get this information, which is about really helping people, the human side of things, understand about what indicators to look for, how to do better password management, how to prevent malicious malware and clicking on the links and so forth, how to become better at empowering the human. So we put together a lot of different tools that actually really puts together this toolkit. It also includes one of my books, which is Cybersecurity for Dummies, which is an award-winning book now. And it's really, to give people awareness. And it's something that not only can people use for their employment and use for helping prevent election abuse, but also take home with them and help with their families and friends and people around them. Because ultimately security starts with the people around you.
Right.
It also includes an incident response template as well, so that when you do have an incident, you're actually prepared and ready to respond with the right, because when you respond to incidents, time is essential, and having the right information is critical to reducing the impact.
So, switching gears now, Capital One has recently been in the news for their breach, and one of the big things around the Capital One breach, there looks to have been some misconfigurations really when it comes to identity and access management. How important is it for organizations to get those rules right as they move to the cloud?
Well, when you get into identity access, and specifically privileged accounts are essentially the keys to the kingdom. And it's what allows IT administrators, security administrators, everyone in here who's doing their job in configuring systems, what they're doing is basically they're using these sensitive privileged accounts in order to configure firewall rules, to create accounts, to do auditing, to set up rules for endpoint scanning and protection. And when you put humans in charge of actually configuring those and maintaining them, mistakes happen, inconsistencies happen, and sometimes they tend to reuse passwords, reuse accounts, or they compromise their personal account, and that gives the cyber criminals access to those sensitive accounts as well. So it's really essential for organizations to protect those accounts, and privileged access becomes one of the best ways to do that. It really means that people do not have unfederated all the time privileged access. What it is on-demand access when you need to, with auditing in place, and it means that when I finish using the account, I no longer have knowledge of that password. I no longer have basically consistent unfederated access. And when I need to get access again, I have to go through the repeat of the security controls. So it really helps organizations reduce the risks of privileged accounts that they pose today. And what we also able to do is create this adaptive security as well. So when the threat landscape, or I call it adaptive as well, or dynamic security. So when the threat landscape changes, you can adapt your controls to either be more strict or less strict depending on the threats that's out in the internet today. So this is something that organizations should be essential. It's evolved, it started its basically foundation in password management, and then it evolved into managing the accounts themselves, and now it's actually mainly focused around the usage of the accounts, how they get used, who has access, when they get used, and when they're not being used, make sure that no one has basically knowledge of the password.
So Joseph, finally, we all come to Black Hat and talk about cybersecurity and dealing with the end users, like how the end user is going to react, and all these products are basically how to protect against the end user, but I'm talking with experts here. What do you do personally, cybersecurity-wise, to protect yourself?
Understand is what do I fear? Is that when I get into what is my understanding of fear, what's the things I'm worried about? Your bank account being emptied, your health information being disclosed, personal details. You kind of look at the things that, what is your fear? And then you try to understand what the risks are. So I look at the risks of each of those, and I try to de-risk them. and I try to separate them and actually understand about what controls I can put in place to make it more difficult for the bad people to gain access. That's ultimately what we're trying to do, is make it more challenging, make more difficulty. And what I try to do is I try to understand those risks and I try to mitigate them where possible. So using password managers for all my passwords,
okay.
Not reusing them, putting multi-factor authentication into all the accounts which matter to me.
Okay.
I'm not doing it everywhere, I just do it in the ones that actually I consider as a risk. Rotating them at least every year. I don't do it every 30 days, or I don't do it never. I actually have a periodic time where I go and rotate them, because sometimes that's when you'll find out they've been breached, is when you rotate the password.
Right.
Auditing, I self-audit myself.
Okay.
I hack myself in order to understand what my weaknesses are. I know basically my digital footprint on the internet. Those are the things that I practice to keep myself safe. And one of the foundations is that I know I'm only as secure as the people around me.
Okay.
So basically making sure that the knowledge about the risk around me as well, that I try to mitigate that. Making more awareness, making people more aware of their risks will make me more secure as well.
Great. Joseph, really appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here, thank you.
For all of our videos, check out our YouTube channel. And for more on Black Hat and all things cybersecurity, check out cyberscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.